Hey y'all, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video is going to be a book haul. So I have over 60 books to talk about. If I counted correctly, it should be 62. It's entirely possible I did not count correctly because they're all laid out on the floor and I can't bend down, heavily pregnant, to to look at them. It's just hard to maneuver. But anyways, so it should be 60 plus books. So I don't know if I'll be able to knock this out all in one sitting. Probably not. So this will probably take multiple takes to record. So I apologize for that. But I just wanted to share some books that I have accumulated over the past few months from thrift stores, some very sweet, precious gifts from some amazing people, and I really appreciate them. And I wanted to share them with y'all in case you're interested as well. And then I kind of went hog wild over some Black Friday deals. So Merry Christmas to me. I don't think I'll get any Christmas presents as books. Not anticipating that. So I am filming this on December 20th. So hopefully I can get this out pretty quickly. But anyways, let's get into the books. I'll have the timestamps below if you want to jump around and look at different categories, if you will. So I'm going to start off with a few children's books, and then get into some nonfiction, and then fiction, Christian fiction, clean fiction. I'm also going to share the ones that I said that I got as gifts versus ones that I paid for. I'll let you all know that. But first up, the children's section. So these are ones that I have gotten from thrift stores. And I've gotten a lot more than what I'm about to show you, but I picked out a few of my favorites that I thought were some really, really good finds. And I have to do a plug for thrift store book purchasing because, one, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You just never know what you're going to find. Scavenger hunt, treasure hunt. It is a scavenger hunt too because you're looking and going to find different things. But a treasure hunt, I guess, is more an apt description because you never know what you're going to find. You run across books you've never heard before, and they're usually very, very cheap. So, yes. I have first two Magic Treehouse books. I have been collecting Magic Treehouse. My goal is to collect all of them, and I have a decent amount. I'm looking at my stack over there that I have, but my goal is to get all of them via thrifting, because there are so many, brand new, they would cost quite a bit added up because, I just learned from Old American Spirit that they have a super edition of Magic Treehouse. I've heard of the original and the Merlin Mission ones, but I didn't know there was a super edition, so I still don't quite understand how they all kind of line up, but I'm sure once I get into reading them myself, I'll figure it out. Anyways, I found Magic Treehouse number 32, To the Future, Ben Franklin, by Mary Post Osborne, and this is definitely one of the newer ones, but isn't it pretty? I just love the cover. It's just so historical, and I was really intrigued by this one because I don't know, I just love the 1700s time period, our founding fathers and all that. So yes, and it's like brand spanking new. Like, I don't think anybody ever read it. So that was a good one. And then also I found a Magic Treehouse fact tracker by Will Osborne and Mary Pope Osborne for the Titanic. So I was very excited to find this one. Had no idea they had a fact checker. They have in addition to the stories, they have, like, facts about whatever, ancient Rome, Greece, whatever. And I have a few of them, but I had no idea they had one on the Titanic. And I was very excited because I love anything related to the Titanic. A weird obsession with this boat, this ship, rather, and the stories, and I don't know. I think a lot of American women may have that, maybe because of the movie. I don't know, but anyways, so let me see if I can figure out how to. But, like, it has like real black and white pictures and like illustrations in it as well. It's just a a fun way to consume facts about the Titanic. So, and also, brand new condition. Not sure if anybody actually read it, so woohoo for that. I think I got both of those for 50 cents a piece. So, and then I also found Meat Kit and American Girl. So, I've seen on Old American Spirit and Morgan from Morgan's Endless Bookshelves channel, if I can talk. They've been reading the American Girl books, and I've just been inspired to actually find them or look for them, intentionally look for them when I go out thrifting. I don't think I've run across any. Well, I have actually. I bought a couple, but I don't think I intentionally sought them out. And I've learned that they are like diamonds in the rough. You don't find them a lot in thrift stores. So I was like, what? It's a book one. It's Meat Kit, American Girl. Who wrote this? I don't know who wrote this. I don't know. It does not say who wrote it. By Valerie Tripp. There we go. So she's from the 1930s. She's not my favorite American Girl, but I mean, I was very excited to find an American Girl book. And it's in pretty decent condition too. 50 cents, you know. I was so excited. But my goal as well is to collect all of at least the OG American Girls. That's my hope. Because I think it's a fun way to, for young girls to read about American history, and I love them as a kid myself. But yeah, I would love to collect all of them. I looked online and brand new, they are really expensive. Like, why are they so expensive? Even on like the thrifted books sites, or I don't know if I looked in the wrong ones, but I was like, what? That's too expensive. So hopefully I can get them through thrift store finds. So I was very excited about that. As well, I got a lovely new edition of Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Living. It looks like this is the 20th year anniversary edition. I have the OG edition. If you've heard me talk about books for a length of time, then you'll know this was my favorite book growing up. I just love it, and I've never seen this cover before, so I picked it up for my daughter's book collection one day. I will keep mine so I can give her this one. So yes, and then I also got another book in the I Survived series. I'm also collecting those as well. I've never read them myself, but I've heard them recommended by Bethany Brings Books. So this one is the Battle of Gettysburg, 1863, by Lauren Tarshish. So I have a small growing collection of theirs. I have no idea. I haven't looked at how big or how many books there are in the series, but I figured it would be a good way to another way to learn history. I'm really big into learning history through stories. I think that's one of the best ways you can learn. So I'm gathering up those as I see them for my children. Hopefully I get to homeschool one day. And speaking of homeschooling, I have a rather sad condition book to show you, but I did buy it anyway because it was 50 cents and I think the book itself is good. So what I mean by it's kind of sad, its cover is torn, and I think it was an old library book, but I mean, the inside is what counts, right? So this one is, let me flip to the inside cover so I can tell you because the cover is messed up. Lady Liberty, a biography by Doreen Rappaport, illustrated by Matt Tavares, I think that's how you say that. But it is a children's picture book with pictures. There's a bookmark in there of related to the Statue of Liberty being built. And I just love books like this where you get the pretty pictures and the facts and you learn stuff. So I'm adding that to my potential homeschooling pile. I am pretty much grabbing anything in the thrift store that is of like something similar that is like a picture book, or really anything, but for our homeschool collection that is related to American history. I am a sucker for American history. I find it fascinating. Some of the best history out there, in my opinion, as an American. It's very interesting. But yeah, my husband is in the military, and he is pro-American. He is American to the core. And so I'm sure he'll be all about my kids learning about American history too. So anyways, enough rambling about that. And then If You Take a Mouse to the Movies by Laura Numeroff, illustrated by Felicia Bund. So yeah, this is it's not in the super best condition, but it's, you know, not ratty or anything. But I love the if you whatever to a mouse moose. If you take them to the movies, you could give them a cookie, whatever. That whole series, I think is absolutely adorable. One of my favorite children's books of all time is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So I have never actually read this. I didn't know it existed, and I found it, and I was like, what? So it looks like it's a Christmas book, even though it says if you take them to the movies. So, but the cover has a Christmas tree, so I guess I should have known. But yeah, I was excited to find that one, and hopefully I'll read that pretty soon to my child. The next book I got is a very good example of you finding treasures in the thrift store that you had no idea existed, but you're very glad that they exist, and that you found them in a thrift store. So this is The Answers Book for Kids, Volume 1, 22 Questions from Kids on Creation in the Fall, written by Ken Ham with Cindy Mallett. So it's just a little tiny kids book, and it has questions in it that I was like, I don't know the answer to some of these. I'm like, oh, okay. So one of the questions was, why did God create a boy first? And then I think I saw another one, did Adam and Eve have belly buttons? So, yeah, I will think this will be very helpful to my kids, and maybe even myself. I can learn something. So this is volume 1. Hopefully I can run across volume 2 and 3, probably, I'm assuming. Any other volumes, I can find them in the thrift store, or, you know, eventually when we get to this point in our learning, I can just go ahead and buy the other 2 brand new. But yeah, I was like super excited to find that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the last children's book is The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary. Y'all, isn't this an OG from the 90s? I loved this book as a kid. I don't know what it was. I don't really care for mice in real life, but this one being on a motorcycle, and also Stuart Little too. Like, they were just so stinking cute. Like, how could you not love the story? His little face is so cute. But yeah, this is like brand new as well. So let me know if you read this as a kid and you loved it. Okay, I'm back. It is many hours later, but it is still the same day. So the next section I have is books that were gifted to me. So I do actually have 2 more children's books that fall in this section. So the first one I have is Jolly Old Santa Claus. And this one, I think, let me find the author real quick. The story is by Mary Jane H. Ton. And this one is pretty special to me because this is actually from my childhood. This was a book that my Mima had, and she passed away actually 2 years ago this month. And every Christmas I would find this book and look at all the beautiful illustrations and pick out like the details that I missed. I feel like every time you look at this book, you see some new detail. There is a story in here too, but I would really just look at the pictures. They are quite gorgeous. Some of the best I've ever seen for Santa Claus, and it's probably because I'm biased. I grew up with this, but there's a lot of nostalgia with it. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So many thanks to my mother and her sisters for allowing me to have this. I did actually find a hardcover version of this book in a Miracle Hill, which was shocking to me because this book is so old. It's very hard to find it. So I did already have a copy, but I'm going to keep this one for myself and give the other one to my children. So this is going to stay with me. And then, as I have mentioned before on my channel, I have gotten some very sweet gifts from people, and I don't ever expect anything, but they are so sweet to get. Just the thought behind it and the sweet messages in the Amazon little papers that they put in there. But the first one I'll say is Southern Baby. Southern Sayings for Little Ones, written by Rebecca Murdoch. And it's a little board book. And this was given to me by Amanda. And she gave me another book too, but this one is for my daughter. And, you know, it has things like Buggy and Bless Your Heart and Cuter Than a June Bug and some Southern sayings in here. It's just so stinking cute. But yeah, I just, thank you, Amanda. That was very, very sweet of you to send a gift for my daughter. So I really appreciate that. And my daughter loves to read. She loves it. She's 18 months, and she anytime she sees a book, she says book, and she just loves, we read every night before bed, but even throughout the day, if she'll sees a book, she'll want me to read it. So she's definitely a budding reader. So Amanda also got me Nova, which is book 1 in the Star-Lore Legacy series by Chuck Black. And this is a Christian sci-fi story. I don't really know much about it other than it is supposed to be an allegory, I think, for Moses. I'm not entirely sure. I know that some kind of allegorical stuff is happening, but it's sci-fi. And I'm just so intrigued that it's Christian and sci-fi. And an allegory to boot. But I do know, I think there's like 6 to 8 books out currently, but there's supposed to be it's supposed to have a lot more books coming. So I'm very intimidated by starting this series because it's not been finished yet and there are already so many books in it already. But I've heard such good things about it from people who I've seen read it. So I will get to this at some point, but I'm going to be honest, I'm intimidated. And then Christy got me this gift. This is Resistance by J.L. Knight, book 1 in the Ilion Chronicles. And this has been highly recommended by Reese from the Writing Songbird, Morgan from M. Morgan's Endless Bookshelf, Celestria. I mean, so many of my friends who have similar reading tastes to me highly recommend this book. I mean, Amanda liked this book too. This is Christian non-magical fantasy, and it's a pretty big chunker, but I'm pretty sure, yes, there's 6 books in the series, and it is a finished series, so they're all chunky, but I've also been intimidated to start a series, but I can't even say anything because I'm reading a series right now and I'm almost done with it, so, you know, I'll get to this pretty soon. It's just a little bit chunky, so I'm excited to own that and hopefully start both of those series at some point. So the last book that I was gifted, I actually got a few days ago from Lauren at Intuitive Reading. She is a new booktuber, Christian booktuber, so be sure to go check her out and give her a sub. So I'll have everybody linked down below that I mentioned in this video, along with all the books and things, so be sure to check out the description box for all of that information. But yeah, I hope you go and subscribe to all of the ladies that I mentioned because they have wonderful channels. They're beautiful people. Love them so much. So what she gave me was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, of course, and I don't remember where I had seen this to put this on my Amazon wish list. I'm pretty sure just Amazon recommended it to me. I don't know. Because I wasn't quite prepared for the beauty of this book. I was shocked of how beautiful this is. So when I was looking at it, I was like, this looks a lot like this book. Hind's Feet on High Places by Hannah Hernard, and an engaging visual journey. So this book is absolutely gorgeous, and turns out that they are part of the same editions by Living Expressions collection. So these are just honestly two of the most beautiful books that I own, and both of them were given to me, and I just am so thankful. So I try to read A Christmas Carol, at least, you know, I try to. It doesn't always happen, but I try to read it every year. And I am definitely more inclined to read it in this version because it's just so beautiful. So I'm going to flip through it so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it has some illustrations in here, and you know, character drawings, and some lettering from quotes from the book, and it even has like some recipes in here. So this one is chestnut sauce for fowl or turkey. I don't think I'll ever make that, but I can if I want to. So yeah, I was just, I mean, look at it. It's so pretty. Yeah, I just think that the reading experience will be 100 times better by reading it in this book. I don't think I'll ever pick up another version of A Christmas Carol to read. I'll just stick with this one, because why would I not read this one? So yeah, I really want to find out if there are other books in this collection that I would like to own. I need to investigate that, because oh my goodness, if there's a Pride and Prejudice one, I'm done. I'm getting it. I don't know, it probably would be too chunky for this edition, but that would be phenomenal, because these are gorgeous, gorgeous books. So thank you, Lauren. I will treasure this always. It will become part of my Christmas experience every year. So thank you to all my beautiful friends who sent me gifts. So it means so much to me. Just want to share those with y'all as well, because they're gorgeous and they're good books. So oh, and then I won actually a giveaway on Instagram, and I don't really know much about these books. I recognized one book out of all of them because it was like a two-parter, so one person won 7 books and another person won a second set of 7 different books. And I didn't win the one that I knew one of the books for, so I know nothing about any of these other than they are clean, secular fantasy books. So I'll show them to you real quick. 1 second. So the first book I have is Huntsmen and Hoods by Laura Greenwood, and this is part of her Grimm Academy series. Looks like it's a Red Riding Hood retelling. So it's a little guy. So yeah, I don't want to read all the backs because this video is going to be long enough. So I'll have everything linked below if you want to check out anything further. But she also sent me a little goodie bag, and I just wanted to show that too because it's so stinking cute. She got me a little postcard, and let me see if I can open this up real quick. She got me, I'm getting more into like ephemera that goes with books, so this is pretty new for me, but I'm excited. So she has a Grimm Academy sticker, crown sticker, and Once Upon a Time at Grimm Academy. Got a little castle on it, and she's got a cupcake one with a little crown on it, another castle one, and My Happily Ever After is in a book. And she gave me her little business card and a little, I think this is a magnet, and it has a little Red Riding Hood on it. I'm sorry, there we go. Common by Lori Lucking, and this says it's an original sweet fairy tale with beautiful romance and daring adventure reminiscent of Ever After. So a Cinderella retelling. The Concealed by S.K. Horton. It is Heir of Earth and Sky Book 1. And this one says, sometimes destiny is written, hers was concealed. So, I don't really even know what this one is about. It looks like possibly something to do with Romeo and Juliet type reimagining. Not sure. Could be totally wrong. I just see Romeo and Juliet on the back. I don't want to read the whole thing, but... And then there is Erased, the Real Sleeping Beauty account by Megan Charlie. So, and then Daughter of Sun, Bride of Ice, the book 1 and the Ice and Fate duology by H.L. Burke. It's glaring a little bit. Ring lights. This one is, let's see, I'm not sure. I'll just read the first line. It says, to save a kingdom, she must lose her heart. So I'm not sure if it's a retelling or not. So I'll look more into that later. I'm trying to save time here, so it's not a terribly long video. Fated Born by Kristen L. Hamblin. It's book 1. What happens if you fall in love in a world where love doesn't exist? Interesting. I'm intrigued. And then Amid Crimson Ashes, an Immortal Accord Standalone by Anna Hawke. And this one, I don't see if it's a retelling or not, but the first line says, love is like a flame. It can light up the world or burn it down. Okay. Alright. So those are the ones I won from the giveaway, which I was so excited. There were 7 of them. So that was really exciting. Alright, getting into the books that I have purchased. So I will start with the ones that are nonfiction. So this one I ran across in Goodwill, and it is Jan Karen's Mitford Cookbook and Kitchen Reader. And I have never read the Mitford series. I own a couple of them, but I haven't gotten around to reading them yet. But I am a sucker for a cookbook, a bookish cookbook. So I didn't even know this existed. I just ran across it and I was like, what? This was $2. Let's go. But it's very pretty inside too. It's got like pretty little illustrations. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll make anything out of here, but I mean, it was just so stinking cute that I just had to. So if you like that series and you didn't know that this book exists, there you go. And she is on the back. Doesn't she look fabulous with her glass of water or something? She just looks so classy. But yeah, I was excited to find that. And then my church had a Bible study, and it just the timing didn't work out. But I got the book. So one day I'll read this, but it is Lord Teach Me to Pray in 28 Days by Kay Arthur. So since my church recommended it, I'm assuming it's pretty good. And then I ran across Gay Girl, Good God, The Story of Who I Was and Who God Has Always Been by Jackie Hill Perry. She is pretty, if you haven't heard of her, you'd be surprised if you hadn't, but she is a speaker. She's on Instagram. I've heard her stuff is pretty good, related to her past of being gay and kind of having God transform her life. So I was excited to find her book in the thrift store. And then these next 2 books I pre-ordered. So this is shocking to me, and that they're nonfiction to boot. But the first one was Toxic Empathy, How Progressive Exploit Christian Compassion by Allie Beth Stuckey. So I love Allie Beth Stuckey's content. Her podcast I listen to quite frequently. She is a Christian conservative commentator. If you haven't checked out her podcast, I highly recommend you do. She's very thorough and well-versed, and comes across relaying news in a biblical way, in a biblical lens. And she has another book out too, which I do own, which is You Aren't Enough and That's Okay. And I haven't read that one yet either, but I had to grab this one because the work environment I live in. This will be very helpful, and I know that I will give this 5 stars. I know it. It's just my brain is just not inclined to nonfiction. I haven't read nonfiction in a couple of years. So, and this isn't even that long. Like, this is 153 pages. Like, I can do this, but I just don't. I would rather read something fun instead of making my brain work, if that makes sense. So, I will read this eventually. I need to read this. I need this for my own personal life. So, and I've heard it's really good too. So, and then the other one is Honest Prayers for Mama Bears by Hillary Morgan Frerer and with Julie Lewis. And this is the Mama Bear Apologetics podcast people. I have their Mama Bear and Sexuality book. I think it's some title like that. I haven't read that one either, but I saw this come up in my Instagram feed that they were coming out with a new book, and very sadly and embarrassingly, my prayer life is not what it could be, and I, haven't really had much other than like church and like church functions. I haven't had much exposure to how to pray well, if that makes sense. So I was excited to find out that they were coming out with this book, and that it's, specific to mama bears and today's world. So I'll read a couple of the types of prayers that are in here in case you're curious. But it says prayers for the wise use of money, humility without being crushed, self-discipline, stewarding my body well, prayers over different parts of the house, prayers on doing tasks that I don't enjoy while doing laundry before driving, reuniting with husband after work, praying for a child who has separation anxiety, blessing children on their birthdays, before a family trip, before parent-teacher conferences, pregnancy, to not screw up my toddler. I might need to read that one. School decision, puberty identity crisis, popping the Christian bubble before the kids leave the house, children's future spouses, how to be a good mother-in-law, children's salvation, for kids to love the word, not the world, the word. Let's see. Stewarding popularity well, pray for my daughter's gender identity, my son's gender identity, nightmares, dating. I mean, literally anything and everything you can think of is probably in this book. I mean, there's a lot more that I could list out, but I just thought this would be a useful tool to help me pray better. So check it out if you think that's interesting or helpful to you. So the fiction books that I got, there's a mixture of Christian and secular in here, so I'll let you know when I get to each one. But I started off, I tried to kind of section them into different types or genres. It's not going to be entirely perfect, but this section is suspense, mystery, cozy mystery. So I have a few books in the Tea Room Mystery series, and it's a multi-author series about 2 cousins who are, I think they're in their 60s, their retirement age, and they're both widowed, and so they decide to open a tea room together, and they just so happen to solve mysteries. It is not like death mysteries, it's like different situations that pop up. So I read the first book with Old American Spirit and enjoyed it, and I happened to see it in Goodwill along with a few other ones, so I went ahead and grabbed them. I don't think I'll start them anytime soon. Cozy mysteries aren't totally my thing. I just have to be in a certain mood for them. I haven't read a ton anyway, but yeah, I'm curious to see what all the rest of the series is going to go. So yeah, I have book 1, which is Tea Room for 2, book 2, Tea Rose, book 3, To a Tea. I love the titles of cozy mysteries. They're so cute. Oh, Christmas Tea. Oh, if I'd realized there was a Christmas book in here, I would have tried to read that this year, but I'm going to have to wait till next year for that one. Did I say what book that was? Book 6. And then book 9, Trouble Brewing. Book 12, which is the last one I got, Tea and Touchdown. So other than the first 3, they're not, sequential. But I was shocked to have the first 3 to begin with in the thrift store. That's kind of rare to find. The first in a series, much less several. So I went ahead and grabbed those for my collection. And then the next 2 I got are Irene Hannon books. It is book 1 and book 3. No, book 2. Of the Heroes of Quantico series. So book 1 is Against All Odds, and book 3 is In Harm's Way. So I'm assuming this is romantic suspense. Don't really know much about it, but I haven't read any Irene Hannon books yet, so hopefully I'll read those eventually. So I got some historical next. So I can't remember if I said that the Tea Room series is Christian, by the way. So the next book I got is one of my most anticipated releases for 2024, and I have plans to pick it up in January because I just wasn't in the right headspace when it came out. So pushing it to January, and it is Across the Ages, book 4 in the Timeless series by Gabriel Meyer. One of my absolute favorite covers. It is just gorgeous, and I'm really excited to read about the 20s and the 1700s. I've heard it's so good from people who have read it, so I can't wait to get to it. Okay, sorry about the beeping. I am baking a cake for a Christmas party tomorrow, so that's what that was. Anyways, the next book I have to mention is A Heart's Disguise by Colleen Coble. It is book 1 in the Journey of the Heart series. It's very, very tiny. Not quite sure, but it is, I think it's set during the end of the after the Civil War, right after it. So, Christian historical fiction. Another Christian historical fiction book I found was the 3rd book in the Mark of the Lion trilogy, which is Assured's the Dawn by Francine Rivers. I own book 1. I found that also in a thrift store, so now I just need book 2. Need to find that one. So I've heard lots of great things about this series. It's very emotional and set. I think this is when the Romans are in power, shortly after Jesus's death, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, they're also chunky, and I'm also intimidated by the emotional roller coaster that is that series as well. And then I think this is the last historical fiction book I have. It's also Christian, I think. But it is a Christmas book by Rosanna M. White. It's a novella, Christmas at Sugar Plum Manor. And this is a Nutcracker reimagining retelling. And I just love this cover. It is a new release for this year. I pre-ordered it actually. So I'm going to try very hard to read it before Christmas. Or maybe even a little bit afterwards. Who knows? But this year I'm going to read it. Because, I love Nutcracker, that storyline. And this cover is just so pretty. So then I got Enclave. If you didn't know, that publishing company is a Christian fantasy publishing company. They just opened up their own site to sell books directly. And they had a Black Friday deal where they had a lot of their hardbacks on sale. And I don't typically gravitate towards hardbacks because they take up more room. I just feel a little bit of pressure with keeping the dust jacket nice. I don't know. But I like the floppiness of paperback, so I tend to prefer those. But these were on really good deal, and some of them, I think, they aren't in paperback. But anyways, I did grab some from that sale. So the first one I have is, actually, there's 2 in a series. So the Sky World series by Morgan L. Bussey. This is The Secrets in the Mist is book 1, and then book 2 is Blood Secrets. So like I said, this company, this publishing company is Christian, And I think this is like steampunk fantasy. Not sure, but I've heard really good things about this series, and I've read Morgan L. Bussey before, and I liked her books. And then this is another anticipated book on my TBR, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I've heard it has such a cliffhanger, so I was waiting for at least book 2 to come out. But it is The Mermaid's Tale by L.E. Richmond, book 1 in the Chronicles of the Undersea Realm. So it's a mermaid book. I love mermaid books, and this cover is stunning. 2 in a series, book 1 and book 2 of the Nightingale trilogy. And I think book 3 just came out or is coming out recently. I don't know. I've seen it on Instagram. But book 1 is Caller. This series is by J.J. Fisher. Book 1 is Caller, and then book 2 is Lumen. And I've heard really good things about this from Celestria and a few other people. So yes, I'm excited for all the Christian fantasy. And then this one is, I've mentioned it before, I've already talked about it in my recent reads video, my latest one, which is a book 2 in a duology. It is A Sea of Golden Chains by Callie Thomas. It is kind of like a swap of the Little Mermaid in the sense that a human becomes a mermaid. So I really enjoyed this series. Check out my recent reads if you want to know more. Okay, so next set of books that I got is a whole series, a big series. So this is from Brittany Fetcher. She is a Christian. Her books are not marketed as Christian, but I would say they have strong, well, I've read book 1, so I can say for book 1, it has strong Christian messages, possibly Christian allegory, you could very well consider it. But they are fairy tale retellings, this particular series is. And she had a sale on her own shop. She has her own website. And she had a small business Saturday sale, I think it was. And that's one of the best times to buy her books because she marks them down. And I bought the whole series autographed all at once because I love book 1 so much. And I love, y'all know I love fairy tale retelling, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the rest of the series. So it was a safe bet to just go ahead and buy the whole thing. And she so very kindly included like a little thank you note, and it's got little tiny little stickers on it. And there's a code on the back for a coupon as well. So I'll just name them real quick. Like I said, I've read this one, which is Before Beauty. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which are that's my favorite fairy tale. And yeah, I want to reread it and then dive into the next 11 books. There's 12 total, and then I think 2 novellas. So that's book 1. Book 2 is Blinding Beauty, a retelling of The Princess and the Glass Hill. And all these covers are very pretty as well. Have you noticed that about fairy tale retellings? They have the best covers, in my opinion. Beauty Beheld, a retelling of Hansel and Gretel. Book 4 is Girl in the Red Hood. I think we can guess what that one's about. And then Silent Mermaid. Need I say more? Which one that one might be. And then this one, Cinders, Stars, and Glass Slippers, a retelling of Cinderella. I've heard really good things about this particular book as well. It's one of the bigger ones. So, number 7, A Curse of Gems, a retelling of Toads and Diamonds. Haven't heard that one before. Interesting. Number 8, Neverland Falling, a retelling of Peter Pan Part 1. Breaking Neverland Part 2. The Sentinel's Song, a retelling of St. George and the Dragon. She does fairy tale. She has another series. I think it's like 3 books in it. She does fairy tales that I've never heard of before. So that's interesting. Book 11, The 7 Years Princess, a retelling of Maid Maleen. I've heard that name before, but I know nothing about it. So, well, yes, I'm going to find out. And then the last one is The Huntsman's Heart, a retelling of Snow White, which is book 12. And then I was not expecting to get 2 novellas as part of the package deal, so that was exciting. This one is Redemption, a Silent Mermaid novelette. And then Beauty's Bell, a Becoming Beauty trilogy Christmas story. I have to read this next year for Christmas. Last set of books is also a secular clean fiction series, and I'm pretty sure the author is Christian. And I have read most of these. It is my new favorite fantasy series at this time. Could change in the future, but I love this series so terribly much. And I had already read most of these when I bought these, but I want to own them because I can see myself going back and rereading them. I can see them being a comfort read for me. And their covers are really pretty too. So that would be the Elven Alliance series by Tara Grace. And I ordered from her Etsy shop for Black Friday, and she had some deals as well on her books. And she sent me some artwork, like posters and stickers too. I don't know where they are. They're somewhere in my house. I had them earlier today when I made the pile, and now I can't find it. But anyways, I did also get that too. So, but as far as the books go, book 1 is Fierce Heart. And this is an arranged marriage series. Book 1 is about an arranged marriage between an elf and human, and them falling in love. And there is violence in this, but I would say it's very tame. It's not like super detailed or anything. But I love these characters. I love this world. Hence why I bought a lot of these. I would have bought the whole series, but some of the paperbacks she was out of stock, so I'm going to keep an eye on her store and see if I can get the rest of them once they come back in stock, or maybe even next year, since I bought so much stuff this time. I may have to wait till next year's sale for Black Friday, but eventually I'm going to own the whole series. So this is Elf Prince, and it is it's a full-length novel, but it is book 1, but in the guy's perspective. So yes, it was very good. I enjoyed it. And then book 2 is Warbound. I'm trying very hard. The ring light is killing me. A help and a hindrance at the same time. Book 6. So I'm missing 3, 4, 5. Bummer. But anyways, book 6 is Shield Band. So it's about a different couple. Part of the same family, but different couple. And then the last 2 books are not part of the main series, but they're companion novels. So there's Heart Bond, and then Elf King. Isn't it so pretty? Yes. So I'm very excited to own those. Like I said, I'm going to keep my eye out for the rest of the series so I can own all of them one day. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I have acquired over the last several months. Most of them I've gotten from Black Friday. But yay, now I can go put them on my shelves. Actually, you will probably see my shelves moving around. I don't know if anybody pays attention to them, but they're going to be moving because moving what's on them currently. I did get another bookshelf because my collection has grown so much, so I'm going to have a bookshelf in my bedroom with nonfiction books on it. So those will move, and then I'll be able to put all these books on these 2 shelves. So anyways, let me know if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them. If any of them sound interesting to you that you might check out, let me know all the things in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.